Miami! To mission control, we have liftoff. Phinhub! Phinhub! We talking Dolphins City! Phinhub, Phinhub! Yeah! It's that Dolphins Show! Phinhub!
Welcome to the Phinhub Show, the one NFL podcast you can't leave off your roster. Now here's your host, Joey and Kevin Tejedo.
All right, welcome to another episode of the Phinhub Show, powered by BetUS. If you guys haven't already, make sure to check out BetUS and use code YouTube150 for 150% bonus on your first deposit. The next two deposits will be for 125% bonuses. So make sure to check out BetUS and use code YouTube150. Get started on BetUS today. So the Miami Dolphins will be making history and will become the first team in the NFL to be playing in Spain. That's going to be interesting for the Miami Dolphins, and unfortunately, it does take away a home game from us. So that's not great news, but it will be cool to see the Dolphins play in Spain and make history, and hopefully it's a win for us. So let's see what that looks like.
I think it's good for the NFL. I think it's, basically leaning towards expansion and maybe having a new team, maybe a team in Spain or in London, something like that. So I think that's really cool. I think it's going to lead to us maybe getting that 18th game eventually too. So a lot of cool things coming out of it, but yeah, it'll be an interesting thing to see. I mean, we don't really know which team we're going to play, right? Do we have any hints or anything like that?
I don't know which team it'll be, but either way, it's going to be, I think it'll be cool. Unfortunately, it does take away that home game, like I was saying, and I don't really like it as far as, the players not being able to rest and everything. But, as the game advances, I guess the more they're going to start broadening up the landscape of it. So a little bit of the future there. In other news, the Chiefs and the refs played against the Texans yesterday, and the Chiefs won that game. So they're going to be moving on. There's been a lot of controversy lately, especially this season with the Chiefs in their close games and everything with with them being able to win games because of the situation with the refs. There were quite a few players after the Texans game, and they said that they knew it was going to be them against the refs for this game, so they anticipated this kind of behavior from them. And they said, unfortunately, it is what it is, and we can't really leave the game up to the refs, and that's exactly what they did. And
he has kept this organization, this team, all year, man. He has blessed us and favored us tremendously, making it. I just got to give all glory to him, man. We knew it was going to be us against the refs going into this game. And, I talked to you guys early this week. And I was just feeling like, man, we got to go out there and we got to do us better. And, in some instances we didn't do that, some instances we did. So we just got to keep going, man. Next offseason, get the guys together, man, and everybody just coming together and just keep building that team chemistry and get past this hump.
Everybody know how it is playing up here. You can never leave it into the refs' hands. But I mean, the whole world see, man, like what it is, bro. But it is what it is. Like I said, when it come down to it, you can't never leave it into the refs' hands, man, and things like that. But it's all good, though.
It reminds you a lot of the Tom Brady days with the Patriots and all that. I think it's interesting to see a team like the Chiefs kind of play so, and I hate this word, but mid the whole season and still have this type of record, still have this type of success. But plain and simple, the Texans didn't play good enough, in my opinion. How do you not get any touchdowns? I mean, that's not a recipe to beat the Chiefs. There's no way you can. Missing kicks. I get that it was windy and all that, but what was your biggest takeaway? Do you really think that the Texans left it up to the refs, or do you think that they just didn't play well enough against the Chiefs?
To be completely honest, looking at the Chiefs defense is really good.
Yeah,
that defensive line is really good. The way they were able to get to the quarterback, I thought that was impressive. They got 8 sacks on the day, so that was impressive in their own right. I do think that the refs somehow they continue to play a factor in these games, and I think that's just something odd. And I hate to point at that, but it continues to happen. And where there's smoke, there's fire, and there's a pattern, and it's just become very strange.
Well, I do know that we watch Dolphins games, and I'm not comparing the Dolphins to the Chiefs at all, but do you ever see us get that many roughing the passer penalties and, kind of things that just go our way no matter what? I mean, we're talking about a right tackle and Jawan Taylor, is that his name?
Yeah.
The guy is never lined up properly, and they never call that on him, so it's just weird. There's a lot of things like Mahomes gets these phantom calls, and all he has to do is look back at the ref, and they throw that flag. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's so whiny and complaining. Like same thing with Josh Allen. I think he does the same exact thing. He's always looking back, flopping. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's more so. It's not a problem with the Chiefs, but it's a problem at the quarterback position and certain stars. It's like in the NBA. You get the whistle. There's a guy like, I don't know, LeBron James has that type of, name already. Well, not already, but throughout the years that he gets a little bit of contact, they're going to call the thing. It's just having that superstar whistle. And I think it's Josh Allen. I think it's Patrick Mahomes. I think those two guys specifically always get the benefit of the doubt. And no matter what, they're going to look back at the ref and they're going to get it. So, and the rest bail them out of some situations like 3rd and longs, and you're getting a roughing the passer penalty. You can't do that in a playoff game, man. It's just not right, and it's a little strange.
Yeah, it's just a little sloppy. I'm not a fan of it, and hopefully that's something that gets corrected, because I do think there is something weird going on with that team in particular, and I think the NFL, I guess they see them as their moneymaker, like you were saying, and I think that plays an important role in this situation, much like the Patriots, like you were also saying. So that could be it.
Yeah, and there's bigger things behind it now with obviously Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift, which, conspiracy theories. But, I mean, it does probably attract a totally different demographic to the NFL. I mean, we know girls, friends of my wife or whatever, friends of other girlfriends. You know what I'm saying?
I know a few girls, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying, you too. I'm just saying, in general, these girls don't know anything, but they're like, what do they say about Travis Kelce? They know Travis Kelce now all of a sudden. They know who Patrick Mahomes is, and they know who the Chiefs are because, that's Taylor Swift's boyfriend. Yeah. And it's just interesting because, us as, fans of the league, we know who Travis Kelce is because he's one of the best tight ends ever. So it's just funny. I mean, I get why, the refs will be on their side. You have a girl in Taylor Swift that is a mega star. And
bringing money to the sport.
Yeah, it's bringing money to the sport, exactly.
In other news, Flores interviewed with the Jets and for the head coaching position. That would be an interesting rivalry there between the Dolphins and the Jets. And, I mean, it already is a rivalry, but even more now would be thrown into that mix with Brian Flores versus Tua Tagovailoa, Dolphins, Jets. I think that's pretty interesting. I don't know if he's going to get the job necessarily, but, what do you think about that?
It'd be interesting. I did see something about him also doing another interview with the Bears, I believe. So I mean, that's kind of goes into the whole Weaver thing because I know the Bears, like the strongest possibility of us leaving Weaver was to the Bears. So if Flores is actually doing that, would you rather him go with the Jets or would you rather him go with the Bears? Because I mean, do you want to play Flores twice a year, or not?
Part of me says yes, part of me says no.
I'm okay with it. I just don't want to see his face.
The part of me that says yes is it would be really cool to beat him, twice a season again. But also, I would hate to lose to him. Yeah. So that would really piss me off too. So
it's kind of like the whole thing with the Bills, right? You love to beat them, but you hate to lose to them. So
yeah.
I mean, that's with any rival, division rival, but it's just extra. It'll feel extra nice if we can get to beat the Bills. So I would imagine us losing to the Jets. And they have Flores as a coach, it's gonna sting that much more. So maybe keep him out of the division. I'm not saying he'll beat us because at the end of the day, he needs to figure out the other side of the ball, which is the offense, right?
Yeah.
And he doesn't have a good track record of that. No one wants to play for him. No one wants to play with him. So
also, it's being reported. I forgot what the source was, but it was being reported that the consensus is from experts in the league that the Jets is the toughest job to take on the Jets head coaching position right now.
Right now, like out of all the
Positions available.
vacancies, yeah, okay.
Just because of the media and the holes that are on the team, there's just a lot going on.
I mean,
with
the
New
biggest
York
thing,
Jets.
right? Quarterback.
Yeah, so that's a tough job. I don't know if there's a lot of people that are wanting to go be the head coach for the Jets. His name is in the mix. Interestingly enough, Weaver hasn't been mentioned there, which I guess is great. And I think the consensus on Weaver also is that he's just not ready for that head coaching job just yet. So we might have him again as a defensive coordinator. This will be the first time in the head coach in Mike McDaniel era, that we will have a defensive coordinator for back-to-back seasons.
It would be nice. I mean, it'd be nice, obviously, for Chop Robinson, his growth. I would love to see Jalen Phillips in this defense. Obviously, Bradley Chubb. If he can get that three-headed monster out there, I would love to see what he can do. Because I do think he's a good coach. I do think that he showed, some things that he can definitely improve on as a coach. But yeah, man, it looks like the players like playing for him. They respect him, as a former player in the league. I think that weighs heavy on the guys in the locker room, and I think it's cool, man. So maybe he can have some input on if whether we should re-sign Javon Holland or we should draft a replacement or stuff like that. So it would be cool. But I have a question on Flores. Wouldn't it be nice for him to actually coach the Jets and convince them to go out and trade for Deshaun Watson?
Oh, I mean, it would be great.
That would be beautiful.
But I think the Deshaun Watson, idea has completely left everybody's mind. Deshaun Watson he's not anything close to the athlete that he was.
No, I mean,
4 seasons ago.
But we do know that Flores really wanted him in Miami, right? So
that was also a long time ago, though. I mean, it would be. I would have no issues with the Jets going for Deshaun Watson, having Brian Flores.
That'd be beautiful.
That would work out well for us, but I don't see that happening.
I mean, it's we hate to see the Bills succeed, but it's been pretty nice watching the Jets just absolutely suck all these years, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we're no one to talk. We haven't done anything, as far as Dolphins fans or the team in general, but it would be nice to continue seeing them, have that dumpster fire over there. So
as far as the idea of Javon Holland sticking around or going, he's going to demand some money. And to be completely honest, I don't think his play as of late has warranted the big contract. He's a guy that I would let walk. We do have the 13th pick in the draft. Malachi Starks at safety is one of the names being mentioned at this point. Another guy who recently was mentioned is tight end Tyler Warren, who's a tremendous talent. And part of me would love to go with Malachi Starks. Another part of me would say Tyler Warren would be a lot of fun to watch too. Which way would you go?
It's funny because I guess, as humans, we want what we can't have, so I see certain mock drafts taking Malachi Starks, and I see other ones us taking Tyler Warren. But each time I look at that mock draft, right, let's say it's that we took Malachi Starks and then I see Tyler Warren right after, I'm like, damn, but it would have been nice to get him.
Yeah.
And vice versa. So the right pick there would be Malachi Starks. I think a guy like Tyler Warren, he's a really cool, fun guy to get. But at the end of the day, I'm not saying this draft is loaded with tight end, but I think it's just too high, too rich to pick at number 13. And you got to go for a premier, position. And I think, safety is one of those. I think offensive line, depending on who you get, and I get guard isn't like a premier position, but it is a huge glaring need for us. And I would like to see the Dolphins go for a guy like Kelvin Banks Jr. or maybe even a Will Campbell that can play at guard, but has that versatility to go to left tackle. So, but out of the two, I would pick Malachi Starks for sure.
Okay, yeah, I would agree with that. I think either way, the Dolphins with the 13th pick, they're going to have some options. I would also agree that the offensive line is obviously the most. Yeah, it's the most important thing on the roster, or the biggest need that we have on the roster right now. So I would agree with that.
So you would prioritize line in the draft no matter what, right?
Yeah, I'm prioritizing line for sure. I am in the camp that the Miami Dolphins should be looking at a young quarterback in this draft. A prospect,
not in the
someone
first
that they
round,
can
right?
develop. Not in the first round. To be honest, maybe even the second round is way too high. But I do think that they need to do something and at least take a flyer on somebody, develop him. And I don't think it should be a 7th round guy either. You know, the Skylar Thompson pick, like we saw what that was. I would like, and sure, you can get lucky in the 7th round. It does happen, but it's not very likely. If they could pick a guy in the mid rounds, maybe that they have, you know, something with, I would like that very much.
Yeah, but you know, like things turn, right? You can't get lucky. We can look at a guy like Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant, right?
Right.
And it seems like the 49ers struck gold in that pick, but now, you know, people are kind of backtracking because they didn't have such a great year. He lost a couple weapons. In my opinion, you know, I think, you know, the amount of injuries that the 49ers had is what led to their demise this year. And I think the same can be said for the Dolphins, right? You do want that difference maker at quarterback. So, you know, I hear you in that we shouldn't draft someone in the second round. But I think if there's a guy like Jalen Milroe, I want to say Joe Milton all the time, out there, and if you want to take a flyer on him in the second round, and I get it, there are, you know, huge needs. We do need to address this offensive line. But if you want to take a flyer on him, that level of talent, you were talking about it earlier before he even came on. That guy is in the 1% of athlete in the whole world. You know what I'm saying? That guy is built different. He's huge. He's fast. He's got a strong arm. You know, if you can refine some things and you know, get him to throw the ball accurately and you know, do different things, like, you know, a Josh Allen. And I keep saying that, but it's not to say that he's going to turn into Josh Allen, but you have to develop. You have to develop, but you have to take your swing. You know, you have to go for it. You know, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So maybe take a shot on a guy like that or a Jackson Dart that you like. So
yeah, I agree. And I hope that the Dolphins do take a swing. I think it's something that they need to do.
But aren't you, like, I'm just kind of sick of watching the Dolphins in the draft process, and they're like, that's a little too rich to take that guy there. But then other teams take him there, you know what I'm saying? Or in the second round, like we kind of miss, and we're like, we'll take that guy in the third.
The one thing that I do see the Dolphins doing way too much of
they're too patient in the draft.
I wouldn't even say it's that they're too patient. I think the Dolphins and Chris Greer, they have this kind of like, I'm smarter than everyone kind of mentality.
They're definitely not.
Like one thing that's really annoying is how Stephen Ross really wanted Lamar Jackson, but because Stephen Ross isn't a football guy and Chris Greer is the football guy, you know, they're like, we know ball. Lamar Jackson's not a quarterback, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean by the mentality of like they're trying to be smarter than everyone else. When there's kind of like obvious things, obvious picks that you should be taking, take the obvious pick. It's obvious for a reason. Everybody sees it.
Yeah.
You know, so I think if they just stop trying to be smarter than everybody and make that obvious pick, they see this kind of premier athlete, something that nobody else has, you know what I mean? Like, get that guy.
Yeah.
And there are guys that you're going to have to develop them. And I think that patience pays off at times. If you look at what the Green Bay Packers did, where they're drafting early, you know, like you pick Jordan Love when you already have Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
That's something what the Ravens did. You have Joe Flacco, but you pick up Lamar Jackson. Or what the Chiefs did. You have Alex Smith, but you pick up Patrick Mahomes. Every single quarterback that was mentioned ahead of the ladder, they were all good quarterbacks, good to great quarterbacks at one point. Yet you can pick up those replacements just like you can pick up Tua's replacement already, maybe a couple years before he's even ready to go. You already have Tua on contract for the next 2 to 3 years. Let him play out those years. And then when his replacement is ready, hopefully with this time, now he's developed a couple years and now he's ready to go. I think that's the way the Miami Dolphins need to play it out here.
Yeah, and I think it's a way to, you're strategizing so that, you know, it's friendlier on the cap. You're not spending so much money at the position if you want to move off of a Tua, right? Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with it, because even if he's not better than Tua and you want to stick to Tua, maybe the guy looks pretty decent and someone else is willing to trade for him and give you, you know, draft compensation or whatever the case may be, maybe a position. I don't know. So, yeah, it's definitely something that I wasn't really into last year or the year before that. You know, I was strong on Tua, but I'm okay with bringing in his competition. I'm okay with someone potentially being better than him. And at the end of the day, we can't be concerned about Tua's feelings. At the end of the day, we're paying him to be a franchise quarterback. He's getting his money. So the Dolphins need to do what's best for them. And I think it's, possibly finding a replacement for him.
As long as it's all fair by the franchise, like that's really what we're going for. We're trying to be the best team we can be, trying to put the best players on the field at all times. That's just the way that the game is played. That's the way the game should be played.
Yeah. It's gonna be a heavy topic for the rest of the offseason.
You can't be scared of competition. So
yeah.
If you guys haven't already, make sure to check out BetUS and use code YouTube150 for 150% bonus on your first deposit. That's YouTube150. Get started on BetUS today. That's going to do it for today, guys. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next one. Fins up.